What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a Client Ascension student spotlight interview. This is kind of like an interesting one because it's more of like an expert coach spotlight interview, because Lucas is a really unique case study within Client Ascension where he went from being a student to now being an expert coach for the students in the program. So what's going on, bro?
Yo, how's it going, man? Yeah, no, really excited to be on this. I've seen so many of these posts on YouTube and stuff already, and they're always really sick. And yeah, I'm excited now to be part of it.
Dude, I have so much fun doing these interviews and just learning more about the people that make up Client Ascension as to what it is now. So, real quick for our audience out there that's listening, who are you and what are you currently working on?
Right, I am Lucas. I'm the landing page coach inside Client Ascension. I joined as a student at the end of December, and my scaled my landing page agency to about 18K a month or so in that time, from basically zero, and then kind of demonstrated some of my abilities and skills and knowledge to the guys in CA, and they hired me on as a coach. I've been doing that for a while now, teaching the students about the psychology behind landing pages, design elements, formats, layouts, CRO, all these different kind of things. And it's been absolutely fantastic seeing some of the students kind of grow and learn more and improve their own pages, get through their activation points quicker, get their stuff up and running, and just overall streamlining the whole process so that we can get that kind of CA result that we aim for.
Dude, you've packed a lot into the last couple of months since December. It was really cool to be able to like cap it off and celebrate it by meeting for the first time at the London event we just had this past weekend. We'll unpack all of what you just discussed, but going even further back into like December, like how did you even hear about Client Ascension in the first place?
For sure. So, my background is not in like sales or marketing or anything. I was a journalist for about 9 years. I worked for a major American media outlet. I've been kind of all over the world. I've interviewed, major politicians and tech dudes. I was mainly tech journalism I worked in. And basically, I quickly figured out, like, at a certain point, journalism just has a very low cap on how much you're going to earn. So I was like, right, I got to do some other shit. So I spent like a year getting into like copywriting and trying to learn more about that. And I think across the entire year, I maybe made like 20K, like I was like, just like doing jobs here and there, didn't really know what I was doing. I was kind of a jack of all trades. I could do a lot of stuff, but I didn't have an offer. I didn't actually have a very specific thing that I was offering to people. It was more so just like, hey, do you need this? Do you need this? And kind of working with one or two clients on a regular basis that had me on retainer to do like small projects and things. So basically, I was heavily involved like in the money Twitter space. I was following everyone there. I was following Daniel, I was following Andre, I was following like all the guys, and I saw like the ads for Client Ascension, and I remember I called up, I booked a call, and I got on with Jay DeCristofaro, and first thing I said to him was, Jay, I'm already buying, just tell me the price. and then he told me the price, and I said, I'm going to call you in 2 weeks. I'm in Canada and I'll be home in 2 weeks. And I'm sure he's heard this millions of times before, and I swear to God, I'm the only person that literally did call him. Like, he booked me in on the calendar, and I emailed him like 3 days before, like, can I call you now? I want to pay. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, let's go. But yeah, so then I joined, and immediately CA was just like the value became apparent immediately. Like, as I said, for me, my big issue was I did not know what I was selling. I could do all this stuff. When I filled out my onboarding form, you guys were like, give examples of your previous work, what you've done, and I had about like just like 15 different things. Like, I wrote this, and I made this website, and I did like this webinar, and like I just had all this stuff that I just didn't really know how to put together into like a kind of an actual package. So then the first call you have, of course, is with Daniel, and Daniel is like sitting at his computer, and he just looks across to his monitor, and he just goes, wow, bro, your setup looks sick. Okay, you sell landing pages and VSLs. And I was just like, okay, that's it. That's what I do now. So I just went absolutely ham on that shit. I just learned absolutely everything. I already had done a ton at that stage. I'd been making like I made sales. I think like it's one of those things where I think as well, CA just gave me the confidence in the feedback from some of the coaches that I was good at what I did, because I'd made sales funnels that I made like 80K in like a week and like shit like that. But like I just still was kind of thinking in my head, yeah, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And then you guys were all kind of just put before, like, as I talked more about it and was on these calls with coaches and going through these things, people being like realizing that, not everyone knows this stuff, and that's something that you guys talk about a lot. Dan said, I think over the weekend, whatever, was like people in this space don't know how much they know. Like you all think this shit is like really basic and really normal, and everyone knows this stuff, but like they just don't. And so that kind of like confidence, and then like the learning more and having an actual offer, and then figuring out like the learning the outreach methods, and kind of building up the sort of client base and just scaling, and then realizing that like there was a lot of value as well that I felt that I could provide to other people. And I've always been kind of about that. I've always like to try and find new ways to get across kind of to people that are struggling, helping them with issues they had. So I started kind of doing that off and on just in the Slack. I think I was just people would have problems with their page or some shit, and I'm like, yeah dude, just hit me up and I'll help you out. And like I saw that from other community members too. Like I had a question about a SaaS, and I was like, a friend's thinking of starting a SaaS, and I want to run this by someone. 4 people hit me up straight away being like, yo, here's a Zoom link, let's go. That's I've run a SaaS, and what do you need? So like I tried to, that energy was already in there in CA, so I was trying to give that back. And then luckily you were kind enough to give me the opportunity then to do this as an actual kind of full-time sort of thing. So I've been now helping all the students and reviewing their landing pages, giving them more tips, doing tutorials, making templates, and it's just been great to see some of the results these guys are getting.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, like you packed a lot into the time you've been in Client Ascension, and it's like so cool to hear what the inception point was. Like for you, you joined the program with a lot of experience. You just hadn't heard it from someone like an authority in the space, like Daniel, saying like you're actually good at this stuff. There's real value in an offer, specifically if you frame it like this. And you just had the conviction from Daniel that he passed on to you to just take it to the market and crush it. I want to even go back a little further real quick. A question on like, you showed up to the sales call, you said, and we're like, yeah, I'm sold. Like, how much is it? And then follow up with me in 2 weeks. And you even reached out a couple of days earlier than that. Where do you feel like that conviction and confidence in Client Ascension being the solution at the time stemmed from?
It is the Twitter ads that have screenshots from the Wins channel, dude. It was just like all these dudes that I saw that were just like doing like crazy money every month. And like you see like 1 or 2 of those, and you kind of go like, is it legit? And then you see like just this massive carousel of just results, and you see like then you check their like students like Twitter profile, and they actually are like absolutely killing it. And like you just kind of that kind of it was very clear that the method worked, like the way like you guys kind of describe it, and the way that you kind of format it and explain. Like I remember like getting on the call with like Jay, and him explaining like right, here's where we think you can be in like 12 months, because I was on the 12-month plan at the time. And like when he broke it down, I was like, yeah, like of course that works. Like it's just one of those things that like it sounds like someone goes to you like oh, if you're doing 5K a month, we can get you to 30, and you're like, dude, fucking how? And then like like, but then Jay's like, no, here's what we do step by step. I think, and as you go down, you go, yeah, like obviously, like like that makes total sense. Like so I think it really is just a case of the reason that I was so ready to go was I had seen how much you guys were crushing already on Twitter. You and Dan specifically were the 2 that I followed, and then I saw all these testimonials, and I saw how good all these students were doing themselves, and like I saw dudes that had joined that I knew before they were in CA, and I knew what they were doing and how much they were kind of bringing in. And then I saw them like a few months later, and there was a significant difference, not just in terms of obviously like income and scaling, but just even the sophistication with which they were talking about their market, they were talking about their product, the sort of like content they were producing. All of it was leveled up, and so I was like, right, okay, there's clearly like this is working, like so that was kind of what was the real kind of convincer for me, just seeing the results from the guys that I already knew, and then seeing the testimonials and stuff like that and everything. It was an absolute no-brainer. I was just like, yeah, I got to get in here,
That's so cool to hear. And I feel like the marketing piece, like, yeah, we do really well with that. I think everyone can do well with marketing. I think where the challenge really comes into play is, okay, you've built up this huge image of what this program is, and then as soon as you join, like, does it live up to that standard? And I've been through programs and have bought products and offers where the marketing's great, I'm all hyped up and amped up about what I'm about to experience, and then it falls flat. And so maybe talk about what your first impression of Client Ascension was, and kind of how that has grown over time to, where you're at now in the program.
For sure. So I mean, I think everyone on Money Twitter's had that, dude. You see like some course you think's going to change your life, and you buy it, and it's a Gumroad PDF, and you're like, fuck. Like it's that's, I think, a very common experience, and everyone has to go through that to some degree before kind of getting down to the really good stuff. But I think that the first thing that popped out for me was the call calendar. When I saw that calendar, and I was like, holy shit, there's like 3 calls a day, 5 days a week. Like this is crazy. Like there's so much kind of value here. There's and then I got on the first calls, and it wasn't just someone just kind of sitting there for 10 minutes going like, yeah, I don't know, like just do that, and I guess that'll work. And it was these super engaged coaches that were responding to students, and the students were really interactive and had questions. And also there was like a level of like fun about it too. Everyone wasn't super serious, like it wasn't like a business meeting or something. Like like you kind of quickly learn the sort of kind of jokes you can make, and everyone's cool to like kind of hang and stuff. But it was it was just really cool to kind of see that like kind of a level of interactivity, and then how often the Slack was being like updated with like new just people talking, and it really like all the channels, like look at my monitor here now, like there's been like, it's probably been like 10 channels added since I joined. Like there's just so much stuff on here, and it's like so like kind of segmented really well, and there's like so many areas in which you can like kind of just like focus on a specific topic and go in and find information about it there. And I immediately had this like kind of urge to kind of like contribute to it in some way. Like one of the first things I did was I had made like a lead magnet that was like how to get like a kind of a YouTuber setup kind of sort of thing, like I kind of have, because due to my failed Twitch streaming career. And I put together this guide like due to like my like experience in photography and videography and stuff like that. And I immediately went like the YouTube growth channel and was like, if any of you are doing YouTube and you want to know like how to get like a sick setup, like here's this guide. And then the reaction to that, like like you pinned it to the channel, and people were like, thanks so much for this. There was like a really, really solid feedback. The community makes you want to give more because of the fact that everyone is so kind of thankful for any sort of help you do give, and is so willing to give back themselves. So I say that when I got into the community, what really kind of set it apart, like I've been in a lot of, I won't name any names, but I've been in a lot of these kind of Discord communities and Ulster's University and things like that. you quickly realize when you're in there, like, people are not as engaged, people are not as the quality of the content being produced is often not as in depth. Like you can go into like the CA Kajabi, and like I took notes on my iPad. I literally have like about 15 pages of like CA notes, and I think I only got through probably the first like 3 modules, and I stopped because I was getting so many clients already that I could not keep up with the learning. So like like that sort of stuff, like just the stuff you learn from like the course as well as like the community, it almost is hard to even just keep up with the sheer amount of content that we're producing, just because you will already be winning and already bringing in more clients by the time you can even get through the full thing.
Dude, there's so much there. It's
Yeah.
very overwhelming. And I feel like one really cool thing that we do as well, which you got to see this weekend, is like bringing the community together in person for
Yeah.
events. Because I feel like, yeah, there's a lot going on in the community. There's a lot of channels, there's a lot of coaching calls, there's a lot of content in the Kajabi, like you mentioned, and everyone is kind of at different points in their business. They need help with different aspects of what they're working on. And one of the cool things we were able to cultivate at this last event was like serving students where they're at,
Mm.
whether it was an offers problem they were dealing with, or a lead gen problem, or sales problem, or operations and fulfillment. And so, talk about what your experience was like at your first in-person Client Ascension event.
Dude, that was like there's okay, so I've worked remotely since I was 19 years old, right? I've just people that I've worked with for 10 years that I've never met in real life, and without a doubt that was like the most fun event I've ever been at. Like not only was it like so incredibly cool to meet like all these guys that I've been talking with for ages online, and that like it was learning more about each person. There was like guys like online might come across kind of a bit maybe like not awkward, but just like they're kind of formal or they're kind of polite and stuff, and then just getting to go and see them at the event, get talking to them, see more about their personality. You connect with them on like a personal sort of level where you have similar stories or similar backgrounds, and just kind of really discovering who they are as a person, not just like as someone in this group that you're in, was like absolutely incredible. The breakout sessions where we kind of sat around and talked to students about like different aspects of marketing and sales and fulfillment and operations and offers and all these things, and just seeing how diligent all the students were in listening, like they taking notes, like all of them being like super engaged, asking really thoughtful and insightful questions. It became clear to me kind of in that moment just how special this kind of group is and how different it is from anything else I've ever been involved with. Like there's been no other kind of community that I have been in that there has been this level of engagement, support, and even outside of like business, like there were some students that kind of didn't even realize that, like, and it is something that I think Dan may have talked about recently on a call, was that like your personal issues can affect business. If you have something going on, this terrible life, so ill health, family problems, all these things, these are all going to have a trickle down effect where your business is going to suffer. So we're not just there for, your cold email campaigns aren't working, try this script, like there's if you're having a problem in your life, there's a whole support network and system there to try and help you with that, talk you through that, connect with you, and see how we can help you solve these issues in order to help your business thrive even further. And I think that became more apparent for a lot of students, just like on like a social level at the event, was how open and willing the coaches are to kind of speak to them and talk to them and just be friends with them. And I think that was really, really beneficial for everyone there. But yeah, literally the best in-person event I've ever been to. I'm extremely excited for Tampa. I can't wait.
Oh, dude, I can't wait either. It gives me so much energy, like in the day to day leading up to the next event, just remembering how much fun we all had and
Yeah.
just what the energy was like in that room that weekend. And it's cool, man. Like you say this from a student perspective, but also on the flip side, like you contribute so much to not only that experience in London, but also in the day to day experience that students get access to in the community. Because again, you are an expert coach, and we always joke about this, but like when we announced in the announcements channel that you were coming on as an expert coach, I think still like to this day it has like the record amount of Slack emoji reactions, right? Which is so cool, man. So you're absolutely loved and adored by the community, and I think a lot of it just has to do with what you're saying right here, right now. Is just like you have a really deep level of care for the students, and it's not just always about business. It's also getting to know them on a personal level because let's be honest, when you're running a smaller agency business or just a smaller business in general, which all of us are in that category, a lot of the business problems are actually stemming from personal problems. And I feel like that stuff just doesn't get talked about enough because it's all surface level, right? And so the where I want to go with this question is my favorite question to ask on these calls, and it'd be interesting to hear it from the student perspective and then also the expert coach perspective. Is since joining, you've obviously had significant achievements with growing your agency and then obviously becoming a team member at Client Ascension. What would one piece of advice be for someone that just joined the program to make sure that they crush it and get the most value from their investment?
From a student standpoint, I'll do both as perspectives, right? If you're a student, you just joined, you're not sure what to do. The big game changer for me, just going to as many calls as I could and being as engaged in the community as possible. If I check the screen time on my phone, like it was like Twitter and Slack. And like that those were the top two, and that was interacting with people from the Slack on Twitter as well, like it was just being as like involved as I could in the community, going to all the calls. I treated it like I was in university or I was in college. Like I was like, right, this is my schedule now. I do 3 calls a day, 5 days a week, and that's what I
Yep.
do. I go to the calls, I listen, I take notes, and implementing, like that's one of the big deals as well. Like I think that one of the issues I've seen some people fall into is that like they'll learn absolutely everything and they become an expert on these topics, and you go, cool, like what are you doing with it? And they're like, oh, I haven't started yet. And it's like, you need to, like as Dan is like, he's like, just fucking rip it, like just do it, like just go for it. So like I think that's as a student, like that was the biggest, I think, thing for my success was I already knew that I had spent like a year where I didn't know what I was doing in terms of like a solid offer. I didn't really know, like, because I didn't have that confidence in what I was selling and what I was doing and it providing value, I was holding back on really kind of doing anything with it. The minute I had that clarity, that guidance, and that I had figured out, and I've been to all these calls, I learned like, kind of all these extra elements that I figured out what I needed to do and how much I knew about the topic, the service that I was supplying. I just ripped it. I just went for it. I just reached out to as many people as I could. A lot of my leads came from Twitter. I went big on Twitter in terms of just posting content, just hitting people up. Like that worked really well for me. Like I that just kind of focusing on the different kind of avenues that I could in order to generate more either content or generate more attention towards what it was that I was doing was what was really beneficial for me. But it was mainly just that taking action. And I think that's something that some people maybe lean back on a little bit. They get in and they kind of go, okay, I'll learn all this stuff and I'll take a few months and and then maybe I'll start my campaigns this week, and then next thing you know, the 6 months are up and they're kind of panicking. So I think that for a lot of them, that would be my big suggestion: is don't wait, to have everything perfect. Go through the course, go through everything you can, get it up and running. Start reaching out ASAP, start fulfilling, and just getting sick results, and you will have infinitely more success. As a coach, the number one session, come to the landing page call.
Yeah.
And second of all, is we are here. Like I start all my landing page calls 15 minutes early now, and I put that time aside for students that maybe joined earlier that don't have a student success coach to come and get some guidance, any issues they're facing with the business, anything they may need, any sort of help, and then just like chill and relax for a little bit before we get into the actual heavy stuff. Because I want people to also connect again, and this is why the London event was so kind of, I think, like popular on a personal level, and to realize that we're there for more than just a singular topic that we're teaching. We are kind of a holistic sort of approach to this kind of education, and that we'll provide support in absolutely any way we can. I don't think there's a single coach in here that if a student hit them up and was like, hey man, I'm struggling, I'm not doing well, would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that, that's not my problem. It would immediately be, what do you need? And it'll either be they'll provide that or direct them to the person that can. And so I think that that's something to keep in mind if you join, is that no matter what sort of problems you're having, the coaches are there for support, and that there will always be a kind of a category or a section in which you can engage in order to have those problems looked at, or a coach you can speak with directly about anything you're kind of going through. So that'll be my two suggestions if you're just joining up in CA.
Damn, bro. That clip, if you're watching this, go back and rewind like 3 minutes. Like, that was an absolute masterclass on how to have success in Client Ascension from a student and from a coaching perspective. And it's so cool, man, because I've done, I think, 26 or 27 of these. And I swear to God, every single time I ask this question, the common theme is show up in the community,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's coaching calls in Slack, on Twitter, and then implement, right? Because
Yeah.
if you're just showing up all the time and not doing anything about it, nothing's going to happen. And so
Yeah.
it really has to be both those things. And like you pointed out, the sooner you do that, the sooner you're going to be where you want to be. If you're waiting a couple of months and now your back is up against the wall, your
Yeah.
options are much more limited at that point. So do it right away, day one. And one of the most practical things I heard you say just now is treat it like a college curriculum. Like,
Yep.
there are 3 to 4 coaching calls on calendar every single day. Like, don't make those optional. Make it part of what you sign up for. And if you show up and if you implement, you're gonna have your face on my YouTube channel at some point in the coming months, right?
Yeah, like
Um,
I gave myself deadlines. I like, it was like, right, by this time next week, I'm gonna have this done, but the thing, and then I just bothered the shit out of all the coaches to approve all my stuff, and like it just kind of really kind of like pushed through everything. I think that was the biggest game changer, was just kind of within like, I think, a month, I had all my shit launched and I was already running campaigns. I was reaching out, I was at a landing page, had a VSL, everything. It just getting that done. Those initial activation points, get through them as quick as you can, and just get out there.
Dude, there's this weird thing where like students are afraid to ask questions or to
Yeah.
speak up. And that is like, I'm, one of the founders here, and we pay over $200,000 a month in like team expenses
Mm.
for people to be here to answer your questions. And so like, I see students that don't speak up and ask a damn question. I'm like, what am I even paying these guys for? Like, ask the question, right? Like, we're paying for that. And you as a student are also paying for the ability and for the access to ask these guys questions. And so it's always interesting how that all plays out, where like the top 10% of students are asking questions and then the other 90% are
Yeah.
absolutely mute. And it's
Yeah,
like I just
like
never.
seriously, come bother the shit out of me in Slack, dude. Like I am always there, and like it's like you said, it's the students that are like hitting me up and asking questions that are always the ones that are ripping it. I
Yeah,
want to highlight one, my favorite dude, fucking Erwin Kronk, Lil Killer,
I've
dude.
been.
First call I had with him, I found out he was like 17. I was running an agency for 3 years. I was like, what the hell? Like, dude is an absolute killer. But Erwin is like he'll send me like he first of all he's always really nice, really polite, really positive. He will hit me up with questions. He will send me voice notes just asking things, wherever he'll thank me for after a call. I get like a nice little voice note from him thanking me for my help, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to do that shit. That's totally fine. But like he's always engaged. He's always like looking to improve, and I've seen him do this across multiple channels with multiple coaches. Every coach I talk to, if I mention Erwin, they're all like, oh yeah, Erwin's great. I did a whole thing with him on this. He's staying super engaged and super active, and that's why he's crushing it right now.
Yeah, dude, I can see Irwin getting involved as a coach at some point. Like
Yeah, I love Erwin.
he's put on a master class on just like how to join the program and make a good name for yourself, right? Like same thing.
Absolutely.
I've talked to all the coaches; they all have good things to say about him.
Matt
Uh,
Lucero too. You saw how active Matt was in the Slack. Like holy shit, dude! Like he has more active than like I think half the people in there. It was crazy. He was like
yeah,
top three. The only other one was like you. I think it was
yeah.
like
I'm
it was insane.
not getting dethroned, okay? For
Yeah.
my own company Slack, but Lucero was close, and it was funny, right? Because we are like in the room with like I think we had like 60 people or whatever at this last event,
Mm.
and I'm like doing like the opening remarks, and I'm like, oh, we got like Matt Lucero here. Does anyone know who Matt Lucero is? And everyone like obviously knows him.
Everyone cheers across the crowd. You know?
It's like everyone knows him simply because he shows up
Yeah.
more than most people do, and it's really that simple. Um, Two more questions for you, Lucas.
Mhm.
First question is like, let's say next event in Tampa is in November. Like, what are some of your shorter term goals with your agency with just what you're doing in business between now and then?
Right. So I'll drop a little bit of sauce here, and something I've been working on is that it sounds like a stupid idea considering it's doing well, but I am actually, I would say I'm not transitioning out of my offer. I'm expanding my offer, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm looking at the market and I'm looking at the
You're
issues that I'm
evolving it, bro. This is my favorite. It's you're evolving your offer because
evolving.
offers
That's it.
have to evolve.
Evolving. Yeah. So like as you're working on your offer, you should be looking at the common themes and issues that you're coming across, right? You're going to have the same sort of like problems are going to come up. Prospects are going to discuss the same sort of issues. I was largely creating landing pages for agencies. And one of the things that I found was a lot of the guys that I make a landing page for often say I get called email agency. I had 3 different dudes that ran agencies like that hit me up and go, hey, how much would you charge me to make a page for my one of my clients? How much do you charge? Do you do email graphics? Do you do Facebook ads? All these sort of things. I was getting asked this by other agency guys, right? So I was looking for a way to, and of course, with one of the problems with landing pages is they are largely a one-off sale. It's not really a monthly recurring sort of thing. So I was trying to fix these kind of 2 main issues. So that's why I've come up with this idea of an unlimited marketing asset agency for marketers and advertisers, right? It's called Innovative, and it's going to be basically a fixed monthly subscription. We will create landing pages, VSLs, copywriting, newsletters, email designs, any sort of creative content you can imagine that your clients may need, we will do for you. So you can triple your prices of what you charge to clients by white labeling us. So
Wow.
if instead of going, we're an email marketing company, we'll charge you 2K setup fee and 250 per call. No, you're not an email marketing company anymore. Now you're like, a full funnel creation service where you will create a landing page, a funnel, a VSL, a newsletter campaign, and you pay us, and then you charge your clients 6K instead of the 2K that you usually do. So that's the idea behind it, is that I'm looking for a way to solve that problem I saw in the market, which is that all these guys are kind of have a similar offer and looking for ways to expand and add more to it to make it more unique. And we can do that by offering these kind of creative services. So I'm expecting by November to have that fully launched. I actually have 2 clients already signed just based off of my reputation and word of mouth and telling them about the idea. They were just like, send the contract.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, sick. So that's going to be launched in the next a month or so. And I'd say just kind of growing that and getting that up and going and having that to a decent sort of kind of monthly return rate by November is my main goal. And then the second goal would be just to connect more with the students on a personal level. And I'll also kind of put out some more content around my previous work, my kind of life leading up to this, because there was a lot of stories I think that I mentioned to you and some others at the especially at the London event that I wasn't sure people would be interested in, and instead people were kind of really engaged, like how I interviewed Andrew Tate, how I've been followed by investigators for Google in San Francisco, like all this sort of shit that I just like, yeah, but it's got nothing to do with marketing or whatever, leave that, like no one cares about that. But it turns out people do. So I think that kind of connecting on a more personal level, both on social media and with my students, partially as well. I've been posting daily videos in the chat now, just welcome everyone in the morning, give them an idea of what I'm working on, just trying to get everyone kind of ready for the week and get ready for the day and get kind of hyped up about like seeing that you know, we're working just as hard as they are, and kind of the things that we're doing in order to try and help improve the whole all of Client Ascension for them, and kind of move things forward even further. So those are my two main goals, I'd say.
Yeah, that new offer is stacked, bro. I'm
Nice, man.
hyped to see how that goes for you and for the clients as well. And then I love the idea of like sharing more of your story outside of business. This is like like side note for anyone who's still listening. There's just massive value in this. But I was like just reflecting yesterday, and I'm thinking of like Hormozy, right? Like Hormozy is obviously known for business content, but he's also known as like the fitness guy. So he's
Mm,
known in two different spaces. And then you got guys like Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan's
mm,
the best example of this. He's known in the
yeah.
podcast space. He's known in the UFC space. He's known in the comedy space. He's known in the like hunting space. Like
Mm,
he's got all these different pockets of niches that he's known in or known for. And I feel like so many guys now in the personal brand space, like in business especially, are one dimensional. Like they're just
yeah.
business and entrepreneurship. So the more you can add and sprinkle in uniqueness, whether it's like interviewing Andrew Tate and being followed by investigators from Google, like that is gonna make you stand out so much more and be able to connect with different audiences and bring them into everything else you're doing with business. So anyways, masterclass on personal branding that I've just been, thinking on and reflecting on recently, just looking at some of the most successful people to ever do it. But
Yeah, I'm gonna go bother log fits about this soon, about how I should package all this shit.
yeah, definitely. So I mean, that's another part of Client Ascension, right? You get the personal branding calls with Logan
Mm.
Fitz and Nick Rogers from Launch Socials every Friday, which is a huge value at that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. Um, but last question I want to ask you here before we wrap it is just where can our audience, whether or not they're in Client Ascension, obviously if they're in Client Ascension, they can just show up to your calls and message you on Slack. Outside of Client Ascension, where can you be found on the internet?
Twitter at Copyline Killer. I just managed to sideload Threads onto my iPhone because it's banned in the EU, but fuck that, I got around that shit. Same username, Copyline Killer, and Instagram, Copyline Killer, is where you can find all my stuff. You can also check out my podcast on Spotify, the Art and War podcast, not of war and war. That's what I do with three co-hosts of mine. Most of them are ex-military, all are artists, and we talk about absolutely everything relating to a lot of them being military, love, gun rights and shit. I'm a big free speech sort of dude, is what I reported on for like 9 years. So we kind of talk about all that stuff there, and it's also just making dick jokes and fucking around. So like it's fun. So check me out on those, and of course if you're in CA, please hit me up. Even if you just want to say hi, just want to chat and shit, or want to ask me a question about like anything, man. Like I'm into all sorts of shit, any sort of tech shit, any sort of kind of funny memes and news stories, dude. I'm there to like just talk about whatever, and any help you may need with any web design, landing pages, anything like that. Please don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. I love helping everyone in this community. Everyone is like just so cool to work with, and I feel so grateful that I get to be part of it. And I can't thank Andre enough for giving me this opportunity and let me connect with so many great people.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. It's an absolute honor to work with you alongside you serving these students. Last thing is, what about for your new website for the new offer? Where can they find that?
That is going to be up soon. It's innovative.io. That's inovativ.io. That'll be launched in the next week or so.
Awesome, bro. Hey, Lucas, thank you so much. This was killer. I can't wait to hear what people think after listening in and just being able to connect with you after and just getting value from being in your presence and hearing all the wisdom you have to share. So thank you so much, bro.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for having me on, and thanks for letting me be part of this community. It's fantastic, and I look forward to being in it for a long time.
Absolutely, bro. I love it. Thanks so much, bro.
No worries, dude.